Happy Monday, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great, now Monday afternoon. It is 12:08 here from Ponte Vedra, Florida. It is Michael Schneider here with Mike Dub Sports. Pleased to be joining you here with another week of sports. And I would say it's not as eventful as last weekend was. Obviously, we had everything with the first round of the playoffs, including last Monday. We had the start to the second round of the playoffs, the semifinals, to see who goes to the Eastern Conference, who goes to the conference finals. And has a chance to play for the NBA Finals Championship. All I've got to say, starting off with the NBA, is that it has been lackluster. Lackluster from the start, let me tell you. There hasn't really been anything. I think the only good series that we got going on is now the Spurs and the Timberwolves, which really was kind of brought to life last night after Victor Wembanyama was ejected for a flagrant. It was his elbow to the face on Naz Reid. He's ejected. I don't think, because I don't know how different it is from the NFL with like ejections and getting thrown from games, how different it is with all of but that's where we're going to start off with. Obviously, the NBA, like I said, semifinals started, and it's been just sweep, damn near sweep. I believe that the Thunder are going for a sweep on the Lakers tonight at 10:30. Then we have 8:30. We have the Cavaliers and the Pistons today. I believe that's 2-1 Detroit. Cavaliers have won their first game, so far are undefeated at home in this series, with a start on Saturday. Hoping to go 2 for 2 in Cleveland, go back to Detroit, hopefully get a game there, maybe kind of put the Pistons back on their heels. But it's just been disappointing. It's been a disappointing second round. Obviously, we hopefully we'll get a little bit more fireworks when it comes to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals. But as of right now, we just have nothing. Obviously, like I said, obviously the Timberwolves putting up more of a fight, despite Wembanyama not playing for the Spurs for a decent majority of last night's game. Anthony Edwards kind of putting the Timberwolves back in the win column. Obviously, yesterday was Mother's Day. He did that for his late mother that had passed away. That's what we got going on. Obviously, not too much. There's not too much to talk about. This is going to be a short and sweet episode because there's really not a lot that we can talk about when it comes to sports. Obviously, PGA Tour had the Truist Championship over the weekend in North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina. Obviously, that's Christopher Rayton. I believe he's Swedish, if I'm not mistaken. Gosh, really, really old player. Obviously, Ricky Fowler is kind of in the top three, and I think that it really just came down to could he kind of push more of a lead towards the end, and he didn't. Fell behind. I believe 2 strokes was the difference there in North Carolina. He fell to third, still podium. I don't know if there was any ties for third, ties for second. But as far as I'm concerned, Ricky Fowler was up there. Just unfortunate for him. That's what we got going on. Obviously, going back to the NBA. We can stay on PGA Tour for a second before we go back and talk about the NBA. But obviously, we have the PGA Championship this weekend. Scottie Scheffler, obviously the defending champion. That's the last time that he has won it's the last time that Scottie has won a tournament, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously last year in May, and we're really kind of looking forward to that U.S. Open Championship that comes on June. I want to say June, July. Looking for that Grand Slam. I think this is So we got obviously we have the PGA Championship, huge for all the guys there. So that's what we got going on. Obviously, going back to the NBA, talk about it. Like Knicks, Sixers. A lot of Sixers fans obviously talking a lot of smack, but their kind of short Cinderella run came to a halting stop in a sweep against the Knicks. So Knicks destroy another team. They move on. They're going to the Eastern Conference Finals to play either the Cavs or the Pistons. Game 4 is tonight. Game 4 is tonight at 8 p.m. And hopefully, Pistons, they can kind of mount another game. Give themselves a little bit of leeway going into Game 5 to hopefully secure the series in Detroit. That would be nice. I feel like a lot of these games, a lot of these deciding, or a lot of like the sealing series games have been in away territory. Obviously, we had Knicks in Atlanta. They beat the shit out of the Hawks in Atlanta. Just first thing that came to mind. Thunder, I believe, swept in Los Angeles in Game 4. That was the last game in Los Angeles. That was the last game of the series. As far as I'm concerned, that's basically kind of, but a lot of the monumental things that have been going down to seal series have been in the losing team's stadium or losing team's territory. So we're going to switch to MLB, obviously. Mother's Day yesterday, like I said. A lot of great stuff going on. Sports, obviously, MLB, NBA. Not too much with the NFL, obviously. We're still in off-season. We do have the schedule release for Thursday. Let me actually look up, because I know that we have lots of international games going on. But yeah, so basically, I believe they actually announced this morning that Sunday Night Football will be in MetLife Stadium for Giants-Cowboys. Going to be very interesting. I think two teams that can make a decent jump. Obviously, Cowboys making a great defensive first round, Caleb Downs. And then, what's it got? But yeah, no, good for them. Obviously, they have easily one of the best wide receiver corps in the NFL, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, can go on and on. But as of right now, that's what we got going on. So, believe, obviously, the Jaguars will be getting a London game. I think they'll be getting 2 London games, actually, for 2026. Falcons are in Spain. Surprised they don't get a Germany game. I feel like the Falcons are like the most tapped in with Germany. Mexico City will be 49ers. Cowboys and Ravens will be in Rio de Janeiro. Definitely butchered that. 49ers and Rams, that will be in Melbourne. That will be in Australia. But yeah, Munich, Germany, that will be the Lions. Paris, we got Saints. I think Jags had 2 back-to-back games in London. Obviously, the number one, I believe the number one selling team in London is the Jaguars. So a lot of games there for the Jags. And the Commanders for that lone game in the third stretch. So that's what we got going on. A lot of international games going on. A lot of international stuff. But yeah, so that's what we got going on. Obviously, kind of going back to MLB, I don't know how we got to the NFL. We'll be talking about it again in a second, just for one player. But Bryce Turing for the Milwaukee Brewers upset a lot of Yankees fans. Obviously, the Yankees fans already lost the series, getting swept. The Yankees are now 4th in the entire league, and they're just kind of, they're staying up there, but still losing series in games. They get swept by the Brewers on a walk-off home run in Milwaukee on Sunday. So, tough loss for the Yankees. And then, obviously, the Dodgers, they lose the series to the Atlanta Braves. They lost yesterday in dominant fashion by the Braves. It wasn't like a blowout, but, it was a pretty dominant win by the Braves. Got a little scared for our closers, because I know our closers can be a little scary for Atlanta, but was able to hang on. I think there was like a 2-run homer late in bottom of the 8th, but the Braves were able to hold it out. I think they got a little bit more points in the top of the 9th, but able to seal that game out, seal the series. So great lift for the Braves. Going further into the season, they still stay atop by 1 game. I believe they either today or tomorrow. I think they take a day off, and then tomorrow they're back in Atlanta for a few series. They start off with the Cubs, which will be another great test for the Braves. Obviously, the Cubs are I believe, the 3rd team in the MLB right now, behind the Reds, in front of the Yankees, and the Dodgers are 5th. But the Dodgers have been kind of sledding downhill, kind of in a rough patch. I expect them to kind of, obviously All-Star break will have a lot of different narratives kind of going forward, because a lot of teams tend to fall off. A lot of teams are towards the top. Braves can fall off, Rays can fall off. Cubs can. Yankees might not. They'll probably just stay in the same spot and maybe kind of tread towards the top. But I think as far as I'm concerned, the Rays are the top team in the AL. Braves obviously top in the NL, undisputed. But yeah, we also have a very interesting narrative to talk about is what's going on in Oakland, or Las Vegas now technically, I guess. The Athletics are currently 1st in the West, and they're 3rd in the American League. So they, as of right now, have a playoff spot, and it's not like a wild card. It's it's not necessarily a wild card. Obviously, the seeding would MLB postseason is a lot different than like a lot of other sports. But they're a playoff team right now. Despite that, they're not playing like a play-in game or something like that, where they're playing like a three-game series to get in. So the A's are in. Obviously, the Mets still suck. The Mets are bottom of the barrel, bottom of the league. They're 5-5 right now, which is actually the same record that the A's have in their last 10, 5-5. But I mean, the A's are positive, and they're kind of in the middle of the pack. But I mean, still, talking about the Mets, talking about the NL East. It's just a horrible division, obviously, minus the fact that the Braves are the top team in the division and the entire league. We're just going to keep going with the Braves glaze here. Yeah, now Phillies, Marlins, Nationals, Mets, obviously, pretty much kind of bottom of the league. But yeah, obviously leading the league by a game, the Atlanta Braves. That's what we got going on. Obviously, we talked about PGA Tour, we talked about the PGA Championship this weekend, and finally kind of kicking it, or kind of wrapping it up. Obviously, got to talk about the NFL. Obviously, we talked about the schedule release, I believe 7 p.m. on Thursday. Got to keep an eye out for that. But Breece Hall, got to talk about Breece Hall because I love Breece Hall. Huge Breece Hall guy. I should have brought my card out for him. I have a rookie card of Breece Hall. It's like Iowa State. It's really cool. It's like, I think it's the Iowa like the Iowa sign, like when you cross the border from what state's next to Iowa? I don't know. I know every other country's geography except for our own, but really cool card, really cool rookie card. But I think ever since I got that card, just been a huge fan of Breece Hall. He signs a 3-year, $43 million deal for the Jets, which I believe makes him the third or the second highest paid running back, or second or third highest paying running back in the league. I believe Saquon's kind of up there. I think he's the top. But Breece Hall, obviously, lots of praise for Breece Hall. I definitely believe he deserves that. Obviously, Aaron Glenn and everybody in New York is doing great things right now. I think that we're doing solid with the rebuild right now. I think they took really good advantage of kind of that first round dense draft. So yeah, for the Jets, looking pretty good. And I'll say what I've said multiple times, is that it really just comes down to Geno Smith and how he can kind of fit into the system that Aaron Glenn is kind of placing him into, or bringing him back into, kind of. Obviously more of a defensive guy, but yeah, it'll just come down to Geno Smith. Obviously, you still have Garrett Wilson. You just got some guys out of the draft, defensively, offensively. Obviously, Breece Hall, signing him. I know they were franchise tagging him. We're talking about franchise tagging him, but they signed him, obviously, a huge amount of money. I believe it could jump up to like a $45.70 or $700 million deal or something like that, or $700,000 or $45.7 million deal. So that's what we got going on. Obviously, Breece Hall is one of the premier Jets running backs, I think. Well, I wouldn't say in history quite yet. Obviously, he's only been playing for the team for a few years. I think he was drafted 2022, 2023 at Iowa State. But he's doing great things. He's a great running back. Obviously, he's been battling a little bit of injuries here and there. As far as Breece Hall is concerned, I think that if he kind of keeps consistent and he kind of stays off the injury report, he could definitely be the best running back in Jets history. I mean, it's not really like a mark that I'd say is hard to hit. Obviously, Curtis Martin, kind of like the only name, and Freeman McNeil, kind of the only two names that are really up there. I think he's about to break into the top 10. Adrian Morrell is the 10th rushing leader in Jets history with 3,447. I think Breece Hall is around 3,000? 3,398. So he's literally 49 yards off. Yeah, 49 yards off of Adrian Morrell. Easily going to break into the top 10 this year. And that just goes up from there. It's just, he's already kind of, I wouldn't say deep into his career, but deep into kind of that prime position. He could break out now. It really just depends on how they kind of keep this offensive line and how they build it, and how they scheme this offense with Garrett Wilson, and he's got a receiver. Yeah, just the more support for Geno Smith, but it'll come down to the offensive line. It'll come down to how kind of the team is positioned, obviously, loading up on offense, despite having a defensive-heavy coach, just a mind as a coach. But, like I said, that's what we got going on. Short and sweet episode. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, so we got this week just more MLB. We're still a little ways out from the All-Star break. Obviously, PGA Championship, we talked about it. Hopefully, we can kind of have a swift and quick conclusion to the semifinals of the NBA playoffs. And then we'll have, I would assume, I'd hope, a jam-packed. I think, honestly, my predictions for, obviously, the finals, not really hard. I think, obviously, we have the Knicks already at Eastern Conference Finals. They're second seed. Obviously, Pistons will probably have home field advantage, I believe. I don't see them losing to the Cavs. On the other side, there's nobody other than the Thunder. Thunder, I think they get the sweep tonight in Los Angeles. Just SGA and the guys. There's really nothing you can do. They also have the lottery this weekend. Hawks pick 8. Number 1 goes to the Wizards. Yeah, number 1 goes to the Wizards. Obviously, Wizards are kind of building up a team. Hopefully, Trae Young can kind of get back and be, Trae Young again, like what he was on the Hawks. But I gotta say, there's not too much going on. See, we're still 48 days out or so from the FIFA Cup or the FIFA World Cup, North America, Central America. But yeah, so far we're kind of in a dormant state. Obviously, you want to watch football, you go to the UFL. But other than that, we have really nothing going on. I do have some big news to talk about next Sunday, the 17th, about the show, stuff like that. But I think for the week coming, I'm going to try and post some stuff out on TikTok, Instagram, obviously MikeDep.sports. Post something on the Instagram with all the social media handles. Rarely post on Twitter. Rarely post on Threads. I don't think anybody uses Threads really, other than for AI slop. Yeah, short and sweet episode. Nothing too crazy. A little boring, but it's kind of what comes with the lackluster build-up of sports. Not too much exciting stuff going on in the NBA. Same with the MLB. Did have some good series going on, but. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great rest of their Monday, a great rest of their week. Pretty much at the halfway mark of May, which is already crazy. I thought we were just ringing in the month a couple weeks back, which we were, but it's gone by so fast. So, but before then, we'll be back. We'll be back with college football, back with NFL, and trust me, that'll be a lot more exciting episodes to watch. But we're kind of in the dead zone right now. But other than that, like I said, I hope everyone has a great day, great rest of their week, great rest of their month. Kind of at the midpoint of the month, but don't let anybody tell you what to do. They don't know you. Chase your dreams. Hope everyone has a great rest of their week. It's been Mic'd Up. It's been Michael Schneider with Mic'd Up, and I will catch you guys next Sunday here in Ponte Vedra, Florida. Deuces.